Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to reflect on life after 60, this stage that we sometimes call the golden years of time, when experience has seasoned us, when wisdom flows naturally, and when we're given a unique chance to see life from a higher perspective. But with that wisdom often comes clarity about what truly matters and what simply doesn't make sense anymore. First, the relentless pursuit of approval and validation from others. After 60, we realize we've spent much of life worrying about what others think, trying to fit into molds, following trends, and measuring our worth against someone else's standards. But why should we let other people's opinions direct our lives when our path is ours alone? The only approval that truly matters comes from within, from knowing we're living with integrity, purpose, and joy. Holding on to grudges is another thing that just doesn't make sense. By now, we've learned that resentment doesn't harm the person who wronged us, it harms us. Carrying that weight can eat away at our peace, health, and happiness. When we reach this age, we have to ask ourselves, is it worth it? Life becomes lighter, freer, and more joyful when we let go of the past and forgive not for their sake, but for ours. And then there's the endless chase for more money, possessions, and titles. We live in a world that constantly measures success by wealth, by what we own, or by our professional status. But after a certain point, we recognize that life is less about accumulating and more about connecting. It's not about the amount in our bank account, but the richness of our relationships. It's not about the title on our business card, but the legacy we leave in the hearts of others. Another thing that starts to lose its meaning is the fear of failure. By 60, we've encountered enough wins and losses to understand that failure is not final. Every setback has a lesson, every obstacle a hidden opportunity. When we stop fearing failure, we find that our courage grows. We realize that we can still dream, still try new things, and still discover our own potential even in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. And let's not forget the habit of overworking ourselves. After 60, we recognize the value of our time and our health. We no longer feel the need to prove ourselves through exhausting schedules and endless commitments. It becomes clear that success isn't found in burnout, it's found in balance. Time spent with loved ones, quiet moments of reflection, and simple joys become far more precious than the rewards of a packed calendar. Finally, the obsession with youth starts to fade. Society may push us to chase eternal youth, but wisdom tells us to embrace each wrinkle, each gray hair, as badges of honor, signs that we've lived, laughed, cried, and learned. Trying to rewind the clock no longer makes sense because we understand that real beauty and strength come from a life fully lived. So as we stand on this side of 60, let us celebrate the clarity that comes with age. Let's focus on what truly matters, let go of what doesn't, and live each day with a heart open to love, a spirit ready to serve, and a mind committed to peace. Life may be shorter, but it can be deeper and richer than ever before. As we move past 60, we find ourselves in a phase of life that often brings more clarity than we ever imagined. One of the most profound realizations that dawns on us is the futility of seeking approval from others. For much of our lives, we tend to let the opinions and judgments of others shape who we are, whether consciously or subconsciously. It's a force that starts early on. As children, we seek validation from our parents, teachers, and friends. Or we look for signs that we're doing well, that we're lovable, that we fit in. Over the years, this need for external approval becomes almost second nature, driving many of our choices, actions, and reactions without us even realizing it. By the time we reach our 60s, though, we've been through enough experiences, both good and bad, to gain a deeper understanding of what really matters. And one of the things that becomes very clear is that living for the approval of others is like chasing shadows. No matter how hard you try, you never quite catch up. People's opinions are fickle, ever-changing, and shaped by their own backgrounds, biases, and insecurities. By realizing this, we start to question why we spend so much time worrying about what others think and less time focusing on what truly makes us happy and fulfilled. This shift in perspective is liberating. Suddenly, we no longer feel the need to tailor our lives to fit someone else's definition of success, happiness, or worthiness. We become less concerned with impressing others and more focused on living a life that feels true to who we are. This doesn't mean that we don't care about others or that we live selfishly. It means that we stop allowing others' opinions to dictate our self-worth and start building our lives around values, passions, and dreams that resonate deeply with us.
The wisdom that comes with age helps us realize that true peace and satisfaction come from within. When we're younger, we may look to material achievements, status, or social approval as markers of success, believing that these external indicators reflect our worth.
But with age, we come to see that external approval is, at best, fleeting. People may applaud us one moment and criticize us the next, often for reasons that have little to do with us personally and more to do with their own lives, frustrations, or limitations. It's a powerful shift when we decide to stop looking outside ourselves for validation. Instead of bending to meet someone else's standards or trying to please everyone, we start asking ourselves, what do I truly want? What feels right to me? This inward focus encourages self-compassion, authenticity, and a willingness to live on our own terms. We begin to trust ourselves more, confident in our ability to make choices that honor our unique journey. And in doing so, we start living a life that's genuinely ours, a life built on our values, passions, and desires rather than someone else's. When we release ourselves from the need for approval, we also let go of the weight comparison. For much of our lives, we may have looked around to see how we measured up, comparing our careers, families, homes, or achievements to others. But as we age, we come to understand that comparison is a thief of joy. Life is not a competition, but a unique journey for each person. Embracing this truth allows us to feel grateful for our path, no matter how different it may look from those around us. We learn to celebrate others' successes without feeling diminished by them, and to acknowledge our own achievements with pride, no matter how humble they may seem. Ultimately, reaching a point where we no longer crave external approval is incredibly freeing. It opens the door to a kind of peace that we may not have known was possible in our younger years. Without the burden of constantly worrying about what others think, we can focus on living more fully, with a heart open to joy, a mind free from doubt, and a spirit ready to embrace whatever lies ahead. We find that we are no longer chasing after an elusive standard set by others. Instead, we are setting our own standards, creating a life that reflects our true selves. And in doing so, we discover that the only approval we ever really needed was our own. As we grow older, certain things take on new meanings and others lose their importance. One of those is the tendency to hold grudges. By the time we reach 60, life has shown us enough challenges, losses, and triumphs to understand that holding on to anger and resentment is ultimately a burden on ourselves. We begin to see that grudges are not worth the emotional weight they bring. Instead, they become like heavy stones we've carried for too long, taking up space where peace and joy could reside. When we start to let go of grudges, we don't just give someone else forgiveness, we give ourselves the freedom to move forward unencumbered by the past. In earlier years, it's easy to feel justified in holding a grudge. When someone hurts us, disappoints us, or betrays our trust, the natural response is to feel angry, bitter, or even vengeful. We may replay the hurtful moments in our minds, hoping that somehow this will make us feel better or help us gain a sense of control over what happened. But what we don't always realize is that by clinging to these negative feelings, we allow the actions of others to occupy space in our minds and hearts. The other person may have moved on with their life, but by holding on to resentment, we keep that wound open within ourselves. As we reach 60, we start to understand that holding on to anger doesn't punish the other person, it punishes us. Our bodies and minds feel the effects of carrying unresolved anger, as stress, anxiety, and even physical health issues can arise from prolonged resentment. Well, studies have shown that people who hold on to anger and bitterness are more likely to experience higher blood pressure, increased stress, and even higher risks of depression. The body and mind are intricately connected, and emotional wounds can manifest in physical ways. When we refuse to let go of grudges, it's as if we're allowing someone else's actions to continuously harm us long after the actual event has passed. Letting go of grudges is not easy, and it doesn't mean we're condoning the actions that hurt us. Forgiveness is not about pretending something didn't happen or allowing harmful people to stay in our lives. It's about choosing to no longer let those actions have control over our emotions, our health, and our peace. By releasing a grudge, we regain control over our own emotional well-being. This shift in mindset allows us to replace bitterness with understanding and resentment with acceptance. When we start to recognize that everyone makes mistakes, including us, and that sometimes people act out of their own pain, insecurity, or lack of understanding. This understanding brings compassion not only toward others, but also toward ourselves. As we grow older, we can look back at our own lives and remember times when we may have hurt others, intentionally or unintentionally. Knowing that we too are flawed and have made mistakes creates a space for forgiveness in our hearts. We begin to see that holding on to resentment limits our ability to feel compassion, not only for others, but also for ourselves. Letting go of a grudge is ultimately a decision to prioritize peace and well-being over pain and resentment. In doing so, we make room for new relationships, new memories, and a renewed sense of joy. When we release anger, it's as if a weight has been lifted and we are free to move forward without the burden of old wounds. We start to focus more on the positive experiences, the relationships that bring us happiness, and the moments that fill us with gratitude. Instead of looking back on painful memories, we begin to look forward to new possibilities. At this stage in life, we recognize that time is precious. Holding on to grudges means using up valuable mental and emotional energy that could be spent on things that truly matter. When we forgive, we don't just let go of anger, we open ourselves up to the present, where we can be fully engaged with the people who bring light and warmth into our lives. We start to focus on the things that lift us up rather than those that drag us down. Forgiveness at its core is an act of self-care. By letting go of grudges, we reclaim our peace, our joy, and our health. We gain the ability to look back on life without bitterness, recognizing that every experience, good and bad, has shaped us into who we are today. And in choosing peace over resentment, we honor the person we've become and pave the way for a future free from the chains of the past. As we pass the milestone of 60, we gain a sense of clarity about what truly matters in life. One of the realizations that often emerges is the insignificance of chasing material wealth, possessions, and titles. In our younger years, society teaches us to equate success with external achievements, financial gains, prestigious job titles, and an impressive array of possessions. We strive to reach the next level, to acquire more, to make a name for ourselves, often believing that each new accomplishment or acquisition will lead to lasting happiness. However, as we grow older, we begin to see through the illusion that more stuff or higher status holds the key to fulfillment. The value of relationships, personal growth, and meaningful experiences becomes far more significant than any material possession. By the time we reach our 60s, we've likely had experiences with both gain and loss, prosperity and struggle. And we start to recognize that possessions are just that, things. They can bring temporary pleasure or sense of accomplishment, but they don't fill our lives with genuine joy or connection. When we focus too much on accumulating wealth and status, we can lose sight of what truly brings meaning to our lives, often at the expense of relationships, health, and inner peace. Chasing after material success can often create a false sense of security. Many of us have seen firsthand how quickly material things can be taken away through economic downturns, unexpected life events, or even natural disasters. We learn that relying on things for our sense of worth or security is fragile. Possessions can be here today and gone tomorrow, but the love we share with family and friends, the wisdom we gain through life's experiences, and the inner peace we cultivate remain with us. These intangible assets are far more resilient than anything money can buy, and they bring a depth of satisfaction that no luxury item ever could. Our pursuit of titles and accomplishments often goes hand in hand with a desire for recognition and validation from others. Early in life, we may feel the need to prove ourselves, to be seen as successful in the eyes of others. But with time, we come to understand that the approval of others is fleeting, and in many cases irrelevant. Titles don't define who we are at our core. They're labels that might capture one aspect of our lives, but they don't encompass our values, kindness, resilience, or ability to positively impact others. By 60, we start to realize that we don't need titles to validate our worth or self-respect. Our lives are already rich with meaning when we focus on what truly matters. Spending our lives in pursuit of wealth can also rob us of precious time. Time, as we get older, is something we value far more deeply. Every moment spent working for material gain that doesn't serve a greater purpose is time that could be spent nurturing relationships, exploring our passions, or simply enjoying the beauty of life. And when you're young, it's easy to think we have an endless amount of time to pursue our dreams or to connect deeply with loved ones. But as we grow older, we understand that time is finite. We don't want to look back and realize we traded away our most valuable resource for things that don't ultimately fulfill us. There's a shift in perspective that happens around this stage of life, where we begin to value simplicity and experiences over acquisitions. The joy of a heartfelt conversation, the warmth of spending time with loved ones, the peace of a quiet morning, or the satisfaction of a creative pursuit takes precedence. Material things often come with added responsibilities, which can weigh us down, while meaningful experiences fill our hearts and minds with memories and joy. By focusing on what brings us true happiness,
We begin to let go of the need for constant accumulation.
Material possessions and titles can also create distance between ourselves and others. Sometimes, the more we acquire, the more we isolate ourselves, whether consciously or unconsciously. But wealth and status can create barriers that prevent us from connecting with others on a genuine level, as we might become more concerned with appearances or social standing. In contrast, when we let go of the need to accumulate, we open ourselves to authentic relationships built on shared experiences and understanding, rather than on the superficial measures of success. Ultimately, we learn that the legacy we leave isn't defined by our possessions or titles. It's defined by the love we shared, the lives we touched, and the positive impact we made. By focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the relentless pursuit of material wealth, we create a life that feels rich in purpose, connection, and joy. At 60 and beyond, we embrace the understanding that the most valuable things in life cannot be bought. They are earned through kindness, compassion, and a commitment to living authentically. As we reach the age of 60 and beyond, one of the most liberating realizations is the diminishing power of the fear of failure. Throughout our earlier years, the fear of making mistakes, falling short, or being judged can feel paralyzing. Many of us have spent a significant portion of our lives striving for perfection, seeking to meet expectations, both self-imposed and those of others. This fear can lead us to avoid risks, stick to familiar paths, and shy away from opportunities that could lead to growth and fulfillment. However, as we age, our perspective shifts dramatically, allowing us to embrace failure as a necessary part of life and a valuable teacher. By the time we reach our 60s, we have likely experienced our fair share of successes and setbacks. Life has taught us that failure is not the end, it is often a stepping stone to something greater. We come to understand that every failure carries a lesson, a chance to learn and grow. It's through our failures that we discover our resilience, adapt our strategies, and refine our goals. The lessons learned in our moments of defeat can often be far more impactful than those learned in success. Instead of seeing failure as something to be avoided at all costs, we begin to view it as a crucial element of our personal and professional development. This shift in mindset allows us to redefine what success means. Instead of equating success with an unblemished record or a series of accomplishments, we start to value the journey itself. We recognize that the process of striving, learning, and evolving is what makes life rich and fulfilling. Each misstep becomes an opportunity to reassess our priorities, understand ourselves better, and explore new paths. We learn to celebrate our efforts regardless of the outcome, understanding that taking risks is a fundamental part of living fully. One of the most significant aspects of letting go of the fear of failure is the newfound freedom to explore our passions. Many of us have long held dreams and interests that we set aside due to the fear of not being good enough or of failing to achieve them. Whether it's pursuing a new hobby, starting a business, traveling, or even learning a new skill, the fear of what might go wrong often holds us back. However, reaching the age of 60 brings a perspective that encourages us to take those leaps of faith. We realize that time is limited, and the desire to fulfill our dreams outweighs the fear of falling short. In this phase of life, we understand that it's okay to be a beginner. We no longer feel the need to excel immediately or to compete with younger generations. Instead, we embrace the joy of learning for its own sake, relishing the opportunity to engage in activities that bring us joy and fulfillment. This can be incredibly empowering. Whether we pick up a paintbrush, take a cooking class, or dive into the world of technology, we find that the journey of exploration enriches our lives far more than the fear of failing to master something. Moreover, our relationships also benefit from this shift in attitude. As we let go of the fear of failure, we open ourselves up to more authentic connections with others. When we embrace vulnerability, we create space for deeper conversations, shared experiences, and mutual support. We learn to value authenticity over perfection, allowing ourselves and others to be human and imperfect. This openness fosters stronger relationships built on trust and understanding, as we can share our struggles and triumphs without the weight of judgment hanging over us. The perspective we gain with age also helps us recognize that failure is often a universal experience. Everyone faces challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. It's a part of the human experience. Knowing that others share this journey can be comforting. We find camaraderie in our shared struggles, and this connection can inspire us to take risks together, support one another, and celebrate our collective journeys of growth. Letting go of the fear of failure empowers us to embrace life with a sense of adventure. We become more willing to step outside our comfort zones, explore new horizons, and live with passion and purpose. We begin to see that life is not a straight path to be navigated perfectly, but rather a winding road filled with opportunities for discovery, learning, and joy. Each experience, whether labeled as a success or a failure, adds richness to our story, shaping who we are and who we aspire to be. As we move forward, we carry with us the wisdom gained from our experiences. The fear of failure becomes less daunting, replaced by a sense of excitement for what lies ahead. We learn to trust ourselves, knowing that even in moments of uncertainty, we have the resilience to adapt and the courage to continue on our paths. In the grand tapestry of life, failure becomes just one thread among many, contributing to the beautiful, intricate design of our journey. As we enter our 60s, many of us begin to reassess the way we approach life, particularly when it comes to our work and how we define success. One of the most profound changes we can experience is the realization that overworking in pursuit of success is no longer a viable or desirable path. In much of our earlier years, we might have been caught up in the grind of work, driven by ambition, the need to provide, or the desire to achieve a certain status. The relentless pursuit of professional success often came at the expense of our health, relationships, and overall well-being. However, as we reach this new stage of life, we find ourselves prioritizing balance, health, and happiness over the constant chase for recognition or advancement. And one significant aspect of this shift is the understanding that life is not just about what we achieve in our careers, but how we spend our time and with whom we choose to spend it. For years, we may have been conditioned to believe that success is measured by our titles, salaries, or the number of hours we work. But as we age, we start to recognize that true fulfillment comes from cultivating meaningful relationships, pursuing our passions, and taking care of our physical and mental health. This realization allows us to reevaluate our priorities and consider how we want to spend our time moving forward. The stress of overworking can take a serious toll on our health. Chronic stress is linked to numerous health issues, including heart disease, high blood pressure, anxiety, and depression. As we enter our 60s, the importance of maintaining our health becomes more apparent. We realize that our bodies have limitations, and the relentless push to work long hours can lead to burnout and fatigue. By prioritizing balance, we allow ourselves the opportunity to focus on self-care, whether that means regular exercise, eating healthfully, or simply taking time to relax and recharge. We come to understand that investing in our health is not just a personal choice, it's a necessity for enjoying our lives to the fullest. Moreover, as we shift our focus away from the demands of work, we also rediscover the joys of life outside of the office. Hobbies, travel, family gatherings, and community involvement take on new significance. And we start to make time for the things we genuinely enjoy and that nourish our souls. Whether it's gardening, painting, volunteering, or spending time with grandchildren, these activities become more than mere pastimes. They are essential components of a fulfilling life. This newfound emphasis on joy helps us cultivate a deeper appreciation for the present moment, enabling us to savor experiences rather than rushing through them. In letting go of the relentless pursuit of success, we also learn the importance of setting boundaries. For many, work has been a significant part of our identity. However, we begin to recognize that it's vital to draw lines between our professional and personal lives. By establishing clear boundaries, we can create a healthier balance that allows us to engage fully in both work and life. This might mean saying no to additional projects or responsibilities that don't align with our values, or prioritizing family time over late-night conference calls. In doing so, we empower ourselves to reclaim our time and redirect our energy toward what truly matters. This change in perspective also affects our relationships. When we prioritize work above all else, we often neglect the people who matter most in our lives. As we approach our 60s, we start to understand that the connections we forge with others are far more important than any professional accolade. The love, support, and shared experiences we cultivate with family and friends are the true measures of a rich and fulfilling life. We find ourselves dedicating more time to nurturing these relationships, recognizing that they bring us joy and fulfillment in ways that work cannot. Additionally, this stage of life offers an opportunity to mentor and inspire younger generations. With our wealth of experience and knowledge, we can share our insights with those just starting their careers. By doing so, we not only contribute to their growth, but also find purpose and satisfaction in giving back. This mentorship can be incredibly rewarding, reminding us that our journey doesn't end with our own achievements. It continues as we help others navigate their paths. Ultimately, as we embrace this new perspective on work and success, we create a life that aligns more closely with our values and aspirations. We learn to let go of the fear that we must constantly prove ourselves or maintain an unyielding work ethic. Instead, we find comfort in the knowledge that our worth is not determined by how hard we work, but by the lives we touch, the joy we cultivate, and the peace we foster within ourselves. This journey into our 60s is not just about aging, it's about living with intention, balance, and a deep appreciation for the richness of life that lies beyond the confines of a career. As we reach the age of 60, a profound shift occurs in our understanding of the value of time. Throughout our earlier years, time often feels abundant. We believe we have plenty of it to pursue our dreams, achieve our goals, and fulfill our obligations. However, as we age, the reality of time's finite nature becomes increasingly apparent. We begin to realize that every moment is precious, and that how we choose to spend our time significantly impacts our quality of life. This new perspective compels us to reassess our priorities, focusing on what truly matters rather than getting caught up in the trivialities of daily existence. One of the most significant changes we experience is a heightened awareness of the present moment. As younger individuals, we often find ourselves living in the future, planning for the next big milestone, dreaming of our next vacation, or worrying about what lies ahead. However, reaching our 60s allows us to embrace the beauty of the present. We learn to appreciate the small joys of everyday life, whether it's a morning cup of coffee, a walk in nature, or a heartfelt conversation with a loved one. This mindfulness fosters a deeper sense of gratitude for the simple things, enhancing our overall well-being. With this appreciation for the present comes a desire to eliminate distractions and simplify our lives. In our youth, we may have filled our schedules with commitments, social obligations, and activities that, in hindsight, lack genuine meaning. We often chased after achievements or tried to impress others, sometimes at the expense of our own happiness. However, as we grow older, we begin to prioritize quality over quantity. We learn to say no to activities that do not resonate with us and to invest our time in pursuits that align with our values and passions. This newfound clarity allows us to focus on what truly enriches our lives, creating a more fulfilling existence. The importance of relationships also takes center stage as we navigate this stage of life. We start to recognize that the connections we build with family, friends, and the community are among the most valuable uses of our time. As we age, we often experience the loss of loved ones, which serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life. This realization prompts us to cherish our relationships and dedicate time to nurturing them. Whether it's hosting family gatherings, reaching out to old friends, or volunteering in our communities, we understand that investing in relationships brings us joy, comfort, and a sense of belonging. Additionally, we become more attuned to the concept of legacy as we reflect on how we want to be remembered. Time becomes a crucial element in shaping the impact we leave behind. We begin to consider not only the accomplishments we have achieved, but also the values we have instilled in those around us. This reflection drives us to engage in activities that align with our core beliefs and contribute positively to the lives of others. Whether through mentorship, charitable work, or simply being present for loved ones, we realize that our time can be a powerful tool for creating meaningful change. As we embrace the importance of time, we also confront our mortality in a more profound way. This awareness can be unsettling, but it can also serve as a catalyst for positive change. Rather than succumbing to fear, we begin to see the beauty in the finite nature of life. We become motivated to make the most of the time we have left, to pursue our passions, and to engage in experiences that fulfill us. This drive often leads us to take risks we might have avoided in our younger years. We find the courage to travel to new places, learn new skills, and embrace new opportunities, knowing that life is too short to remain in our comfort zones. Moreover, this understanding of time encourages us to practice self-compassion. We recognize that it's never too late to pursue our dreams, learn something new, or make amends with those we've lost touch with. Instead of regretting the time we may have wasted in the past, we learn to focus on the present and future possibilities. This shift fosters a sense of empowerment, reminding us that we have the agency to shape our lives and make meaningful choices regardless of age. Ultimately, as we navigate our 60s and beyond, our relationship with time becomes more profound and intentional. We learn to prioritize what truly matters: our health, relationships, passions, and personal growth, while letting go of societal expectations and superficial pursuits. This clarity allows us to live more authentically, creating a life that resonates with our values and brings us genuine fulfillment. By embracing the importance of time, we cultivate a sense of purpose and joy that enriches our journey, reminding us that every moment is an opportunity to live fully and authentically. As we reach our 60s, a significant transformation occurs in our perspective on happiness and the role it plays in our lives. For much of our earlier years, many of us equated happiness with external achievements, job promotions, financial success, or social status. We believed that if we reached certain milestones or acquired particular possessions, we would find lasting contentment. However, as we age, we often discover that true happiness is not found in material wealth or societal accolades, but rather in the quality of our relationships, the moments we cherish, and our ability to find joy in the present. One of the most profound realizations that comes with age is that happiness is often a choice rather than a destination. In our youth, we might have waited for external circumstances to align before we allowed ourselves to feel content. We would postpone happiness until we achieved the next goal or acquired the next item on our wish list. However, as we grow older, we come to understand that we can cultivate happiness in our daily lives, regardless of our external circumstances. And we learn to shift our focus from what we lack to what we have, recognizing the abundance present in our lives. This shift in perspective allows us to experience joy in the mundane and find beauty in the everyday moments that once went unnoticed. Relationships play a central role in our understanding of happiness as we age. In our younger years, we might have been preoccupied with career aspirations and social climbing, often at the expense of nurturing our relationships. However, as we enter our 60s, we recognize that genuine happiness is deeply rooted in our connections with others. The love and support of family and friends become invaluable sources of joy and fulfillment. We learn that investing time in these relationships, nurturing them through quality time, open communication, and acts of kindness, brings a richness to our lives that no professional achievement ever could. Furthermore, the experience of loss often shapes our understanding of happiness. As we encounter the passing of loved ones or friends, we gain a deeper appreciation for the time we have with those still in our lives. This awareness prompts us to cherish moments spent together, creating lasting memories and savoring the time we have. We learn to express our feelings more openly, share our love more generously, and make the most of each opportunity to connect. The fragility of life teaches us that happiness is found in the present, and we are reminded to express our gratitude for those we hold dear. The pursuit of personal passions and hobbies also becomes increasingly important as we age. In our younger years, we might have set aside our interests to focus on careers and family obligations. However, reaching our 60s often reignites our desire to engage in activities that bring us joy. Whether it's painting, gardening, writing, or volunteering, these pursuits provide a sense of fulfillment and happiness that enhances our quality of life. We learn to prioritize our own interests, recognizing that taking time for ourselves is not selfish but essential for our well-being. This newfound freedom to explore our passions allows us to tap into our creativity, connect with like-minded individuals, and experience a sense of purpose that enriches our lives. Additionally, the wisdom we gain through life experiences helps us navigate the challenges and setbacks we inevitably face. We learn that happiness is not the absence of difficulties, but rather the ability to find meaning and resilience in the face of adversity. As we encounter health challenges, changes in our circumstances, or the loss of loved ones, we draw upon our inner strength and the support of those around us to find hope and joy even in tough times. This resilience fosters a sense of gratitude for the small things in life, allowing us to appreciate the beauty of each day, regardless of its challenges. In our 60s, we also become more comfortable with who we are, shedding the need for external validation. We realize that our worth is not determined by others' opinions or societal standards. This newfound self-acceptance allows us to live authentically, pursuing what truly brings us joy rather than conforming to external expectations. We find happiness in being true to ourselves, celebrating our individuality, and embracing the uniqueness that comes with age. Ultimately, as we embrace this new understanding of happiness, we learn to live with intention and purpose. We become more attuned to our values and priorities, focusing on what brings us joy and fulfillment. By cultivating meaningful relationships, pursuing our passions, and finding beauty in the present moment, we create a life rich in happiness. This journey of self-discovery allows us to experience life more fully, reminding us that happiness is not a distant goal, but a daily practice that enriches our lives in countless ways. In reflecting on the myriad insights we've gained as we journey through life and approach our 60s, it becomes clear that our perspectives shift profoundly with age. We learn that the things that once seemed paramount, career achievements, societal validation, and the fear of failure, lose their grip on our happiness and fulfillment. Instead, we come to cherish the value of time, understanding its finite nature and the importance of living in the present. We realize that true happiness lies not in the pursuit of external success, but in the richness of our relationships, the passions we embrace, and the joy we find in everyday moments. The freedom to redefine our understanding of success, to let go of the fear of failure, and to prioritize our well-being over work allows us to live more authentically. As we step into this new phase of life, we carry with us the wisdom of our experiences, the courage to pursue our dreams, and the appreciation for the connections that bring us joy. Embracing these truths empowers us to live with intention and purpose, creating a life that resonates with our values and brings us genuine fulfillment. So let us celebrate this stage of life as an opportunity to deepen our understanding of what it means to be happy, to forge meaningful connections, and to embrace the beauty of each moment. In doing so, we unlock the true essence of a life well lived, rich with the experiences, love, and joy that make it all worthwhile. Thank you.